Stan.
Lee.
Stanley.
Excelsior! Oh. Someday I'll find out what that means.
Normally we review movie characters and comic book characters, but not so much people that create comic books.
But you're wrong. He is a comic book character, and he does star in movies. It's Stan Lee!
Well, he does, yes, he does. But he also created the original comics
He did.
of, like, Spider-Man and...
X-Men,
Yeah.
and Iron Man, and the whole...
It's crazy how much he invented.
Indeed. He's just a plethora of his creations in the 60s have become massive, massive hits now. Beyond that, he's been the face of Marvel Comics, and now he's transitioned into this wonderful role as sort of like the wonderful old grandfather who just keeps popping up all the time. Half the time people will go to see the movies produced by Marvel Studios just to see what Stan Lee's going to pop up as in this cameo this time.
Are you Tony's stank?
But here he is in toy form. What the hell? They've made him into a toy.
They have. I mean, there's a very small number of creators who end up in action figure lines themselves.
Yep.
Stan Lee is personally my favorite of these. This is a Marvel Legends action figure. It was done by Hasbro shortly after they got the license to be able to do Marvel Legends. So it's not at the same sort of level that their current lines are at, but it was much earlier on, and they're kind of doing a lot of innovative different things here. One of the big things is that this is a figure wearing a cloth outfit. Now, we don't normally see soft goods on Marvel Legends figures. Even their cloaks are usually made out of plastic. But here, his entire outfit is basically cloth. And there's a reason for that. You can see this nice little jacket thing that he's wearing here. It's actually got some Velcro at the back. Because if we rip that off,
What?
we can see that Stan Lee is in fact jacked. And is wearing his Spider-Man costume underneath.
His Spider-Man costume. Wait a minute, that's not his Spider-Man costume. That doesn't belong to him. It belongs to Peter Parker.
Wow, come on, who created it along with Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko? You know, it was Stan Lee. And you can take his pants off as well. Don't do this to the real Stan if you see him at conventions.
Yeah.
He doesn't like having his pants just taken off.
Yeah, trust us, we tried.
Yeah. So you've got to get them over his shoes there.
He's wearing shoes.
But yeah, it's Stan Lee. He's wearing a Spider-Man outfit, or is it? Because this figure did actually come with some alternate parts to him.
Okay.
One of which is a head, which is Peter Parker.
Right.
You know, this figure will act as a Spider-Man figure, a Peter Parker figure, or a Stan Lee figure.
Wow, that's awesome.
And he does have placeable forearms, so that you can put him wearing his gloves, and placeable calves and boots, so you can take off the shoes and put them on there. But even if you want to have a regular Stan Lee head on there, he also comes with a little Spider-Man mask, which you can put into his hand. So look, Stan Lee has taken off his mask. He is actually Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Excelsior!
Do you think Marvel Legends weren't confident that Stan Lee on his own was going to sell, so they sort of three-fit him with Spider-Man? So you're basically getting Spider-Man, but as an extra you're getting Stan Lee? Or was it sold as Stan Lee?
It was sold as Stan Lee, but having the extra parts to be able to have Peter Parker or Spider-Man, I think was a genius move in terms of if people didn't want to have a Stan Lee figure, they had other reasons to be able to pick it up, because then you had...
But if you don't want a Stan Lee figure, don't buy a Stan Lee figure. Buy the Spider-Man figure. The Spider-Man figures are out there.
If you don't want a Stan Lee figure, really you should be checking your pulse to see that you are actually alive and that you are a human being.
It's not looking good.
Get out. You didn't need an action figure of him, but to do it in this way where you get a multifunction figure where it can be Stan, it can be Spider-Man, it can be Peter Parker, it can be a combination of all three if you want, I think it's just fun, and it was really innovative. The only thing they really needed to do was put a different head on a Peter Parker body, which probably would have been fine as an exclusive just on its own, being Peter Parker Spider-Man. Whack a Stan Lee head on there, fantastic, you've opened up a whole new level of possibilities.
Oh, it's slushy!
So here's Stan a bit more Spidey-ish. We've taken his pants off, changed over his shoes. He's got a nice little foot here with a nice loafer and some
socks.
Some good socks. I mean, those are good grandpa socks right there. But yeah, you just swap out the calves,
Yeah.
and you unplug the forearm, and you've actually added quite a bit of articulation even with those. We actually, on the fingers of this new hand here, each of the fingers is individually articulated.
Wow.
So you can get them thwipping properly.
Yeah.
You can do other things with it, but we don't recommend that because it is Stanley, and he's basically owned by Disney nowadays anyway. It's a very slender figure, which is good for Spider-Man.
I was going to say, it is a Spider-Man figure.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it? It's not a
definitely a
Stan
Spider-Man
Lee
figure.
When you see him like that, it looks pretty weird.
Yeah, very weird.
And maybe that's why the clothing is as bulky as it is, because when you put the clothing on with the Stanley head, it looks a little
It
more
looks more
proportion.
Stanley-ish.
Yeah, they weren't going to build a Stanley
No.
accurate body, were they?
No. I mean, even for Peter Parker, yeah, he in theory should look like this all the time. But when he's being just regular Peter Parker, putting on these bulky clothes makes him look a bit more normal.
Yeah.
So if you are using him as a Peter Parker figure, he works perfectly fine. But yeah, this is pretty weird seeing
This is
Stan.
kind of halfway between Spider-Man and Stanley.
Yeah.
I've got Spider-Man on my underpants.
So those are our thoughts on Spider-Stan. I'm going to call him Spider-Stan from now on.
Stan the Manly. One of the coolest action figures of all time, I have to say.
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee.
I guess he is.
Stan Lee.
He's posing as Spider-Man. He doubles as Spider-Man and Peter Parker.
Yeah.
But it's a Stan Lee figure, and he's cool as.
Absolutely.
If you guys like him, let us know down below. Don't forget to thumbs up our video and subscribe to the channel. We are out of here for now.
But we'll be back, true believers, with more stupendous and exciting reviews of toys from Scott and Sku. Ooh, Excelsior!
Don't you cry no